Today we're going to be talking about something called the fortune teller error, what it is, how it can contribute to depression and anxiety, and how you can stop it. Hi everyone! In today's video we're going to continue our series on cognitive distortions and biased ways of thinking that can contribute to anxiety and depression. And this week's topic is the fortune teller error, which is a very common type of cognitive distortion. But before I get into that, just a couple of disclaimers to go over. I'm a registered psychologist in the province of British Columbia, Canada, and this video is for informational purposes only. It is not intended as a substitute or replacement for advice from your doctor or mental health professional. Now, with those two things out of the way, let's start talking about the fortune teller error, which is similar to another cognitive distortion that I've talked about in a previous video, which is mind reading. And in mind reading, the person assumes that they know what someone else is thinking, whereas in the fortune teller error, the person assumes that they know what's going to happen in the future. So it's almost like the individual who's engaging in fortune teller error or mind reading has some sort of extrasensory perception. In the fortune teller error, it's almost like I feel like I'm able to predict the future. And in the context of experiencing depression or anxiety, typically the future is predicted to be dark and grim. And so I make negative predictions about what's going to happen, and then the fortune teller error leads me to assume that my prediction is right, that my prediction is accurate, and this is how it is actually going to turn out. Now, it's important to note that the prediction is often influenced by how I'm feeling at the time when I make the prediction. So what can often happen is when a person's experiencing depression, the worse I feel, the more depressed, the more anxious I am, there's a tendency to have more dire and more negative predictions of what's going to occur. So my predictions aren't necessarily based in fact, but it's more based in kind of how I feel. If I feel down, I predict that things are going to turn out negatively. If I feel anxious, I predict that things are going to go wrong or something bad is going to happen. Now, one of the big problems with the fortune teller error is that it can lead to almost like a self-fulfilling prophecy. So imagine a scenario where I'm single and I'm really discouraged about being single. I'm not having very much luck with online dating. So I might predict that I'm never going to fall or never going to find love. I'm never going to end up in a committed relationship, and that I'm going to be single and miserable for the rest of my life. Now think about how that might affect my behavior. Think about how that fortune telling may influence my behavior. What will it do for my motivation to engage in dating or put myself out there? What might it do for my willingness or my courage to ask someone out on a date? If I predict that nothing I do will be successful, which is kind of the point of the fortune telling error, then what's the point in trying? And so what ends up happening is I stop dating or I stop pursuing relationships, which in turn results in me not having a relationship. And the longer it goes that I'm not in a relationship, the more down and hopeless I get about ending up in a relationship. So the fortune teller error essentially becomes this self-perpetuating cycle where my negative predictions change my behavior in a way that makes it more likely that the negative predictions will actually come true. So it's kind of sneaky and nasty that way in terms of how those negative predictions drive behavior to make the negative predictions actually come true. Now, another problem with the fortune teller error is that it causes us to not recognize that our beliefs are actually predictions. But rather, what can happen if we do enough of this fortune telling is that we tend to see our beliefs as fact. So it's not that I perceive myself to believe that I'm going to fail a test, for example, but I believe that I'm going to fail the test. So why bother studying? So it's not that I recognize it as a perception that, maybe I'm going to fail the test. I believe I'm going to fail the test. So it becomes one of these things also of, why bother? It's not that I believe that I might not get a job. I believe that I'm not going to get a job. So why bother wasting my time with a job interview? So in this way, we behave towards the prediction as if the prediction was a fact. We behave towards a prediction like we have a crystal ball and that we're looking into the future and the crystal ball is telling us what's going to happen, and we behave accordingly. So you can imagine how this might negatively affect mood and depression. If I perceive that I'm going to fail at much of what I do, if I perceive and I believe that things are not going to work out for me, that the future is bleak and hopeless, what do you think that's going to do to my mood? Well, it's going to drive my mood down and it's going to make me feel more depressed. So the question becomes, if I'm engaging in this fortune teller error, what can I do about it? How do I change this? Well, the first step is to recognize when you actually are engaging in fortune teller and the fortune teller error. These cognitive distortions work really well when we're not aware that we're doing them. So the first step is to notice whenever you're predicting something bad is going to happen that hasn't actually happened yet. If you're doing that, you're likely engaging in a fortune teller error. And when you catch yourself engaging in the fortune teller error, you want to remind yourself that you do not own a crystal ball. And you're probably not very good at predicting the future because not many people are. Now, another powerful tool to challenge the fortune-telling error is one that I've talked about a lot in other videos, and that's tolerating uncertainty. At its core, the concept of intolerance of uncertainty is really just an example of the fortune teller error. And building tolerance for uncertainty through things like behavioral experiments or challenging your predictions by doing things to challenge those predictions, by taking risks, these are all powerful ways of short-circuiting the fortune teller error. Essentially testing out those predictions and demonstrating to yourself that in fact you aren't very good at predicting the future, just like everybody else. So I hope that gives you a better sense and a clearer idea of what the fortune teller error is and how it can contribute to anxiety and depression. I'd love to hear your thoughts and ideas about this, so please leave me some comments in the comments section down below. If you're enjoying my videos and would like to see more, please hit that subscribe button and notification bell, and you'll be alerted every week when I post a new video. So that's all for today's video. As always, thank you for making it all the way to the end of this video, and I will see you in the next one.